insights. I want the bets from Betting Weekly. Because we win, that is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsored.
All right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live. Back with you on a Thursday here on Betting Weekly Studios, Bet Rivers Network. Mike Carver here with you, along with Doug Kezirian, as we get ready for all the action tonight. We're going to cover all of it for you. We've got a Thursday night football game in Los Angeles between the Chargers and the Vikings. We have got a couple of NBA games tonight. We've got a lot of pucks. We've got college football. We got a lot of things. World Series gets going tomorrow night. I mean, it is all happening right now as we get towards late October. Doug, it is great to see you, as always, my man. Before we get into all the action, Doug, really, I think we have to start, being that we are a gambling show and we talk about gambling, we talk about betting on games, we do all those things. We have to start today with this story, of course, with the FBI and the NBA players, Terry Rozier, of course, Portland Trailblazers coach Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and then, of course, a whole host of other people all getting arrested this morning. Massive story today, Doug, here in the gambling space involving those guys.
Incredibly eye-opening and wild, and it read so salaciously that you think it would have happened in a different country that maybe didn't have the regulations that we thought we had here. I mean, you're talking about James Bond style poker games and celebrities and guys who've made over 100 million in their playing career resorting to con artistry with the mafia. It's truly incredible. A Hall of Famer and an actual head coach. I feel like, I don't want the Philippines to catch strays, but like this would happen in like the basketball league in the Philippines or something like that. It really is remarkable. I will say there's obviously going to be a domino effect, and you obviously have the blowhards who are running their mouth without actually understanding things, and people saying this is what happens with legalism. People need to realize a few things. There's been corruption in every industry. There's been corruption with the stock market. You don't shut down Wall Street. You increase regulation, which is why you have the SEC and people like Bernie Madoff going to jail. I've said it on panels dating back to 2017, 18, 19, when I was at ESPN, and this was still relatively new. I said, there are games being fixed right now in sports. And I was thinking more college, things like that, point shaving. And I said, that doesn't mean you shut down sports. This is going to help it. This is going to flush it out. I would imagine that today's events are going to give a lot of athletes who might be in those similar situations, whether or not recently, but maybe in the future, a lot more hesitation and pause because of what's happened today. So when these things happen, I see it in a lot of ways as a good thing, because you need to get out the bad actors. And gambling was not, or sports betting was not invented in 2018. Okay. It's been going on a long time. And we've had this shifty behavior for a while. And that's just the stuff we know about, right? Like the 30 for 30s with the Boston College basketball team and things like that. There's been stuff, I've said it on this show, that there was a scoreboard game clock operator in the 80s for an NBA team. I know it, but I won't mention it. That was pausing the clock so the game would be lengthened, right? Like stop it every second, just kind of hold it for a second. These things have happened everywhere when there's money involved, right? It's greed. And the more stuff that's legalized and above board, because people like it, Bet Rivers will work with authorities, because Bet Rivers wants games on the up and up as well. They want to flush this out. And that's how you catch these people. You have monitoring of irregular betting activity, and it's harder to catch when it's done underground. So yes, there might be some changes in some of the rules, whether it be limits and stuff like that, the micro betting, which is the props, like we saw with the baseball pitcher throwing a striker ball, the first pitch of a certain inning. That's micro betting in the prop market for sure. I think the books were carried out of hand. But for the most part, this is kind of a good thing. And it's not like gambling is bad, because the stock market's not bad. It's just these things need to be flushed out. There's scummy stuff going on all the time. But it doesn't mean you just have more regulation. And we have stuff that goes on in every industry. It happens all the time. I just don't want the bad apples to spoil the whole batch.
That's kind of where I'm at, Doug, because like I feel like the majority of people who listen, and there's plenty that don't bet on sports, and there's nothing wrong. They're going to see the headlines today, and they're going to be like, "Oh, well, look at this. This is because of legalized sports betting." And it's not. I mean, 75% of this thing is the poker, which is absolutely wild. Some of the stuff when you read, Doug, what the lengths that they went to in these poker games in terms of the machines being doctored, seeing under the tables, I mean, that's a really large chunk of this. And then you have, of course, the sports betting side of it, which is kind of, Doug, an extension off of what the Jonte Porter stuff too. That was like kind of part of this, that he was involved in, and this is how it's gotten bigger and bigger as it's grown on. But that's the thing that I look at, Doug. Like, I feel like people are just going to see the headline and it's going to be anti-sports gambling, anti-sports this. But really, there's so much more into it that you have to dig into and actually read about.
I agree. And it bums me out because I knew Chauncey a little bit at ESPN, one of my favorite dudes, just a rock solid guy. And you're hearing that from everyone else across the board in the NBA sort of family and circles. It's a shocker. And then you hear it's like, oh, he was used as a face card. So maybe just like an appearance fee. Oh, no. It's the allegations are that he was much more involved. So it's baffling. And obviously you want to give everyone's innocent until proven guilty and things like that. And honestly, I think there's stuff that makes it look not so great about the NBA because they cleared Terry Rozier. What investigation did the NBA do? Now it brings into question everything the NBA is quote unquote investigated, right? I've always laughed at David Stern's one rogue official. Yeah, okay. One guy did it all. So I just think the optics and the brand protection, the shield, also really makes me sort of skeptical of everything. We know the NBA playoffs were shifty back when Stern was commissioner. Donaghy has come out and said it that refs would be rewarded with NBA finals assignments. So that would give them clout and more money in terms of per game checks if they helped extend series, right? Guys would get in foul trouble when the lower seeded team was down 0-2 coming home. This is stuff that's been really shifty, but this is blatant. This is point shaving. This is coerce. And the non-public information that's being given out, I mean, that's always happened. I've told the story. There was an injury where Justin Herbert did not play for the Chargers, and the line shot up like 4 points on a Friday during practice, and then 30 minutes later, Adam Schefter's tweeting about the injury. So clearly, people know about injuries beforehand. Now, obviously, a guy like Schefter's not giving out the information ahead of time or betting it or silly like that. But I'm just saying, if the guy who gets the information first is 30 minutes behind the betting market, then you know shifty stuff is going on. But that happens in insider trading in Wall Street and everywhere. There's stuff in all these things. There was a money laundering scheme at one of the casinos here in Las Vegas. They were innocent. They didn't realize, but that's when the KYC thing came about, the know your customer. So that they started holding casinos liable. They have to know where this money's coming from, because otherwise you can just wire it in and take it out in chips and then basically launder it really easily. So this is all becoming more trackable and traceable. But in terms of the future of sports betting, we'll see. I mean, obviously, like any industry, 99.9% of the people are on the up and up. We're all betting regular sort of bets and same game parlays and second halves and whatnot. And the books want to flag it, and they're all working in, communicating with one another and authorities, which is, like I said, a good thing.
It certainly is. And I'm sure there'll be a lot more that comes out. A story like this, you end up getting more and more as it gets bigger and bigger. That's for sure. All right, let's get to tonight, Doug, because as I mentioned at the top, we have a very busy Thursday here on Betting Weekly Live, and that will be the kickoff of week number 8 in the NFL, which will be in Los Angeles between the Vikings and the Chargers. Now at Bet Rivers, -3.5 for the Chargers. Total a flat 45 on a Thursday night.
Yeah, I mean, the number's gone from 3 to 3.5, and I agree with it. So I'm kicking myself for not betting the -3, because that was the side I liked with Carson Wentz here. And this was supposed to be JJ McCarthy against his former college coach, John Harbaugh. Too bad we don't get that. But we do have a huge coaching edge with the Chargers, and I think Joe Alt likely to return. That was what gave me pause with the Chargers -3. I was a little uneasy laying the 3 because that offensive line has been so banged up. Slater's out for the year, and Alt's such a big piece, and that's why the Colts were so dominant. Well, they're not facing the Colts. They're facing the Vikings, and Carson Wentz stinks, but he's not facing the Eagles, who I think turned up the heat and everything. And I thought Wentz played well at times, to be fair. but it's Chargers or pass for me in a pick 'em. For the actual wager, I kind of lean under here. I know Herbert's been slinging the ball around a lot, and Wentz was certainly involved in a high-scoring game, and could turn over the ball. He can throw the pick sixes with the best of them. So I have to just do a lean. I can't get involved here. I just think the numbers and the market's tight.
I kind of leaned to the under as well, Doug, when I was looking into it last night and this morning. And then I realized, just going back at what I've been doing previously, how smashed I've been on the under the last 3 weeks on Thursday Night Football, whether it was the Steelers and the Bengals last week, Eagles and Giants the week before that. I think even Rams-Niners just made it over too because of the overtime. I keep wanting these unders on Thursday night, Doug, and I know every game is different. It's hard to put those things together, but I'm just feeling a little gun shy about going after it, considering I've liked the under the last few weeks and it hasn't gotten there for me.
I'm with you. And there's been a little bit of a run, I guess, on the overs. The NFL market's tight. We know it. And
Yep.
I mean, I wrote like a 1,000-word article for The Athletic on why the NFL market. So I can't really summarize it now, but it's a perfect storm of these units of scoring of 3 and 7. And then we think we know all the players involved because we know the skill position players. But really what's key is the game plans of coaches are so specific to the opponent that's what changes things. A team can look great one week and then down the other. It really is difficult in that regard. So we always have angles. And then sometimes our angles hit. We think we nailed it with that angle, but it's confirmation bias. Sometimes it's another thing that did it, but we look past that sometimes.
We certainly do. Bet Rivers tonight, they got you set up. NFL primetime first touchdown, second chance bet. Users will receive a second chance token for any first touchdown wager each game day of the primetime NFL games, of course, Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays. Go to the Bet Rivers app for more details, but they've got you tonight. Primetime, first touchdown, second chance bet. Let's do a couple props here, Doug, in this game tonight. I'll give you one that I do like, two actually that I like this evening, and they're actually both receiving yards. Didn't really love the touchdowns tonight. Maybe I'll find one as we continue to move along here, but I'm going to go first with Justin Jefferson. Over 81, now up to 82.5 at Bet Rivers. I know Wentz stinks, Doug, but 10-plus targets in the last 3 games, obviously all with Wentz in there, 120-plus yards in 2 out of the 3 games, and the other game was a 79, so just about right where this total is. So I'm going to go up, and over with Justin Jefferson here with the 82.5. I think it's a little light.
Can't blame you. He's obviously unguardable in so many ways. He single-handedly won him that London game, just extending the drives on third down, things like that. He's an athletic freak, so even a guy like Wentz, and I would side with the over there. I will say this, and more pertains to your next play, but the teams are getting a little healthier defensively.
Yep, teams are getting a little healthier defensively. And the other one, as you said, the next play for me is on the Chargers side of things. And that's with Gadsden, who's really gotten going. Obviously, last week was a monster week for him. 7 for 164 and getting the end zone. Hit 7 for 68 the week before that. 43.5 tonight for Oronde Gadsden. And he seems to be a guy who's become a part of this Charger offense a little bit. I mean, you could also go, Doug, if you don't want to go for the yards, I mean, the receptions for him is over 3.5. Now, that's pretty juiced at minus 167. But whether it's receptions or yards, I think the yards, 43, with what he's done the last 2 weeks, I'm willing to go over there.
I'm with you. I talked to a sharp guy who's more like analytically driven and things like that. Mm-hmm. Like the Chargers and the Vikings are getting healthier, and that should keep Gadsden in check. But with that being said, Herbert's been throwing so much lately, and he spreads the ball around. So it's hard to sweat out Gadsden. On Monday night, I had Ibuka under. He had 4 yards in the first half. I'm under like 50 or something. And he gets like 28 yards on the second to last play of the game. So it just, and then he, collectively had the over. So it burns you. It's really tough to bet the under on a lot of these, unless weather's like a huge factor, like last week's Browns-Dolphins game. The only one that caught my eye is Quentin Johnson. He's such a freak. Now he does have the little bit of the dropsies, but he could be a really interesting guy. So his anytime scores plus 160, first touchdowns plus 850. Those are things that catch my eye, but I can't pull the trigger. I know it's not that fun. Whereas last week we all had a bunch of plays, but I just feel like this is a game that can go a lot of different ways. I do think the Chargers get the win. I think it's like must win. I don't think much of this Vikings team. I think a lot of their coaching staff, but I don't think much of the team. And they laid the egg against, the Vikings laid the egg against the Falcons in week 2. And I think that still sort of lingers in the back of my head. So, this Chargers team's only won one of the last 4 games, and that was a 2-point win at Miami. So I'm going to have to pass. I think they shoot themselves in the foot too much for me to lay points.
Any interest with Aaron Jones back tonight for the Vikings? Probably going to cut into Jordan Mason a little bit. Mason's obviously had all the work with Jones out, but now Jones is back this evening. He is going to be active.
Again, it's a wait-and-see approach. I've said this time and time again. We have the advantage of not having to bet everything, right? Yeah, right. Yes, in pick'em leagues, we need to choose something. But we have the advantage of not having to bet. And I just don't know if there's that much conviction with me in this. And maybe I'm gun shy with the NBA, beat me up last night. And I'm definitely going to be gun shy with the NBA tonight. But in general, you just got to have conviction and be comfortable going to that foxhole with your wager.
If you want to get involved another way with Justin Jefferson, Bet Rivers Nightmare on 18th Street tonight. I like that. Nightmare on 18th Street. Justin Jefferson to record at least 50 first-half receiving yards in Vikings-Chargers, boosted from plus 155 to plus 200. So 50 first-half receiving yards for Justin Jefferson there tonight. I like him for the game. Maybe I will get involved in the special there tonight at Bet Rivers there for Double J. You mentioned, so there you go, Vikings-Chargers opening up Week 8 tonight, Thursday Night Football here on Betting Weekly Live. You mentioned the NBA, Doug. Let's get there. It was kind of a crazy opening night. That was the first full night. Obviously, Tuesday, we only had 2 games. We had 12 games last night, and there were some really wild things all over the league. Of course, we only have 2 games to look at tonight, starting with the Thunder in Indiana against the Pacers. We talked about this one a little bit yesterday. Minus 7.5 for OKC here on the road. 231.5 the total at Bet Rivers right now.
All right, I talked about this game yesterday. Look, I'm not saying I have tomorrow's newspaper, but if you're ever going to bet a spot against the math, it has to be this spot, right? You have the Pacers, who are going to absolutely bring it. Now, I know they don't have Halliburton, and I know they don't have McConnell, and I know they don't have Miles Turner, but they have some dudes who played in the finals, and I just think the Thunder are going to be absolutely sort of flat. I don't think Caruso's going to play, right? Concussion protocol. J-Dub's also out, and this team's coming off a double overtime game. A game they won, by the way, an emotional night where they got their rings, raised the banner. How much do you think they're going to be into this game? And think about it. They also lost a couple games at the Pacers. They were dominated in most of those games, and they had the fluke win, I think, in game 4, if I remember correctly. So I'm all about the Pacers in this game. I think there's even more line value in the first quarter and the first half. Money line, little sprinkle as well. This is a variance game. This is a game where I would not be shocked if the Pacers won by 20. So there are props you can bet. Pacers to win both halves, 11-1 or something insane. These are the games you sprinkle a little bit on all that because it is such a bizarre sort of game that you just don't know how it's going to go. One team's going to treat this like the Super Bowl, and the other team's going to play, go to the game with their rings on, championship rings on. It's just one of those games. And I do think the Pacers have enough talent and firepower, despite the guys that I mentioned who are missing, that you have to play this game every which way. You just have to lean into the variance.
Yeah. And look, I think after last night, which was, you kind of said it good. For me, it was more bad than good for that Big 12 game slate last night in the NBA. But looking at it from a big picture, I kind of like the over tonight in the low 230s. And I know you want to talk about it. Overs have been wild so far. That was the one good thing was good for me last night was that Atlanta-Toronto game. But up and away, Doug, so far through the first few nights of this NBA season.
I understand the logic. I just don't know where the Thunder's mindset or the Pacers going to lock down on defense. If this were a regular game, overs for sure. But I just don't know if the Pacers are going to treat this like the finals and pick up full court and craziness. Now, again, McConnell's out, but This is just a game where nothing would surprise me. I would lean into the top point scorer market. I would look at, I don't know. I mean, obviously Siakam at plus 850 makes sense, but I would look at Neesmith at 40-1. I would look at Nebhard at 40-1. Again, just a little bit of action to get things going. There's no telling how OKC will start this game.
Yeah, there certainly isn't. That's right. But 40-1, huh? For those guys to be the top scorer in the game. Doug's got me intrigued now. I always love a little fun Happy Meal bet like that, Doug.
These are the games. Like, the NBA's crazy, right? Like, now look, this could be a game where Thunder win by 3, lead by 4 at half, win by 9. Sure. I just don't see that happening. A game with this much emotion and this much storylines and narrative coming into it, I just don't see how it plays out that way. It could be a Thunder blowout too, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But these games that have all these crazy, it's like those games where it was like Durant's first game back in OKC, or all these games that have like Luka's first game back in Dallas. Remember Klay Thompson's first game back in the Bay Area at Chase Center had like 7 threes, right? And his prop was like 1.5. Like these games that have ridiculousness, you mentioned it yesterday with Marchand. These games always take on a different sort of outcome and script, game flow. And I think instead of fighting it, just lean into it, which I'm planning to do here.
The second game of the doubleheader this evening, the Nuggets, the other team that has not played their first game yet this season, they will be in Golden State in San Francisco against the Warriors. Minus 2.5 for the Warriors now at Bet Rivers. 233 flat for the total. Joker and Curry tonight.
It's tempting to bet the Warriors because that's the only side I would play, but I think it's a pass. They looked great, but they were only up 1 at half, and the Lakers team kind of stinks. And I do think this is a very good Nuggets squad. I think Jamal Murray's the best he's been in years. Remember, Joker's never played with an all-star. Murray's never been an all-star. It's kind of crazy. Christian Brown off the big deal. He's obviously been trending in the right direction. I actually like Cam Johnson a lot, and I think he's better and more reliable than Michael Porter Jr. Aaron Gordon's still Aaron Gordon. And then they have Bruce Brown, who they've missed and loved off the bench. And Strother took a leap last year, as did Peyton Watson a little bit. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is solid. So the Nuggets have their best roster they've had. Frankly, it's better than the one that won the championship. I got to be honest. But the Warriors are clicking. They're 28-8 with their new big three intact going back to last season since the Butler trade. It's Warriors a pass, but it's a pass, man. I'm really excited to watch this game, though.
It's going to be a fun game. And, man, you had to bring up Michael Porter Jr., who hit 2 threes in the first 5 minutes of the game. I was
telling myself, damn it, Carver. I knew he had a good one, and I didn't touch it.
2 threes in the first 5 minutes, and then he didn't hit another one the rest of the game. And he stuck on 2 for 7 entire night. Oh, it was just brutal. So I'm actually going to go to the guy he was traded for tonight with the same number. Okay. Cam Johnson, over 2.5 threes, even money at Bet Rivers. So maybe he'll get a chance. He'll get all the Porter threes now that he's not there anymore. Cam slides right into that spot, and hopefully he gets to chuck from downtown. So Cameron Johnson, even money, over 2.5 threes for me in that game. But I am with you. It'll be a fun game to watch. I'm glad it's late night because then I'll have the kids in bed by then and I can actually sit down and enjoy it and watch it. So I'm all in for it. Real quick about the overs. I brought it up.
Are you going over in this game too?
It's probably an over. I'm not going to play it, but it's probably an over. Because he's 12-2 to the over through the first 14 games of the regular season so far. I mean, everyone's flying, Doug.
Now, the Lakers' outcome was by a hook. Did it go over or under by a hook? I'm assuming over because,
right.
But yeah, I mean the Lakers because their offense kind of came down. The Warriors, that offense can sputter. And I think I mentioned it the other day on the show Tuesday, just because they did in the playoffs against the Rockets and things like that. But I could see defense clamping down for sure. That went over by a half point. So their game was one of the 12 overs by a hook.
Yeah, but I mean, look, 136, 117, 125, 121, 138, 118. I mean, these scores last night, it was everyone has come out of the gate just firing.
It's why I think Durant was a bad acquisition. And then they give him a 2-year deal for $90 million.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Durant isn't good. I'm not saying his numbers are replaceable, but you see the production and the shooting the league now has, the skill level of so many guys that are on 3-and-D contracts. And you just don't have to pay a guy like Durant, who's 37, 38 years old, and his body should maybe break down, is likely to break down, I should say, and things like that. You have to spend your money wisely. So you spend it on the biggest fish there are, like Luka, Jokic, Steph, those guys, Giannis, Wemby. Obviously, he's going to screw over the league because he's so good the rest of the next 2 decades. But I just think you got to be careful with your spending. And so when I'm looking at the futures market, honestly, the Rockets concern me because when you have an unpredictable injury like Fred VanVleet, that stinks. And then you have one that's kind of predictable, like Durant, they're going to pace. And I guess Horford's playing tonight, but he's not going to play tomorrow. It's just so blatant with the load management that you have to be careful with injuries and things along those lines. So the salary cap and with the second apron's really interesting how teams are approaching it. And I would disagree with what Houston did, but they're going for it. They're going for win now.
Yep. Got to get Durant in there. I didn't understand it either, having to try to wedge him in, considering what they were building. But got to get the shiny new toys, Doug. You got to get the shiny new toys, although I wouldn't say it's a new toy. It's a shiny toy. It's not a new toy. That's for sure. All right, so 2 games, NBA. We got a big Friday tomorrow with the NBA. Tons of games on a Friday night that we will get to tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live. We got pucks tonight. Tonight is a big puck night. 12 games in the NHL that we will have. Nice job last night. I guess with the push, unfortunately, with that Buffalo and Detroit game, Doug, which of course was scoreless after 1. Would have been a great spot for the live over there after 1 period. Ended up falling right on the 6. Devils did get the win and stayed under. Montreal had a close win in Calgary, so not a bad night on the ice. Tons of games this evening. Chicago's in Tampa, Pittsburgh in Florida. Rangers at home. Haven't won a home game yet this year. They got the right team in the house tonight with the San Jose Sharks. Detroit on a back-to-back out on Long Island against the Islanders. I'm going to start with this one, Doug, because I was looking into this today, and it kind of caught my eye. The Blackhawks have covered the puck line in every game so far this year. Tampa has not covered the puck line in every game so far this year. Tampa's -1.5 at +1 at -120 at Bet Rivers. Blackhawks plus a goal and a half at -104. So, do both of these things continue? Do we keep riding the wave here? We got both of them going head on right next to each other. They're playing each other tonight. Do we take the Blackhawks and keep the trend going on both sides?
And you got to, right? You're the one who spotted the trend. Don't you have to follow it?
I'm in. I'm taking the Blackhawks plus the goal and a half, -104 in Tampa. They've played well the last couple nights. Let's be fair. The Lightning, Doug, they've looked horrible to start this season. They have not played well at all. Now we're on a long road trip, and they're that team. We mentioned this yesterday, coming back home off a long trip. This is their first game home. They're 1-3-2 so far this year. Blackhawks have been a little spunkier than people thought they would be. We'll take the goal and a half tonight, Doug, in Tampa with those 2 teams.
Like you've been on the Blackhawks a little bit. You've been saying that they're not as terrible as you think.
We hit them their first win of the season, that home game, when I think they were 0-2 or 0-3 at that point, and we were able to get them at home. I think it was against Utah or somebody, but we were able to get them that night. Next one for me, over in the Islanders and the Red Wings out at UBS. Islanders 6 games this year, Doug. All 6 of them have 6 or more goals in them. That's right. They have not played. They have not played any low-scoring games.
So you're saying over.
We're going up, and away with the Red Wings and the Isles. Now the Red Wings also played last night in Buffalo. Didn't play well. They lost 4-2. So yeah, it's not a long trip going from Buffalo to Long Island. A little 45-minute flight for them, but still. Islanders games have been track meets. Even with the Sharks the other night, you had a 4-3 game. It was up and down, up and down. I expect more of the same. And the Islanders are playing the backup Rittich tonight. Sorokin's not playing. Even more so helps us with this cause. So we're going to go over with the Isles and the Wings.
I mean, look, I think you're onto it. You've been obviously seeing the puck really well, not the ball. You're seeing the puck really well, so I'm not going to get in your way. And all of it sounds right to a casual,
right,
hockey person like myself. I feel like it sounds right.
And I really am excited for the Carolina-Colorado game tonight. Now, I thought Carolina was going home after they lost that Vegas game. They actually What? They're on the road for 2 weeks, Doug. I don't know what they're doing over there in Raleigh for 2 weeks that they had to throw the Hurricanes out for a little while, but they are, in Colorado, and they still have to stop at Dallas on Saturday before they even go home. So as we know, Colorado's been hot, 5-0-2. They don't have any regulation losses yet this year. You got Carolina coming in off the loss in Vegas, -141 for the Avalanche tonight. Hurricanes plus $1.14. For me, it's an under, Doug. I think we get ourselves two really good teams, a little bit tighter. We saw the under with Carolina and Vegas as well. I think that we get ourselves under the 6. Avalanche probably win. 140 is probably about right, but I think we'll keep it underneath the number.
Now, the Avs lost in Seattle, right?
The Avs lost in Utah to the Mammoth.
Utah, that's what I meant. The in overtime, the sweet goal.
Overtime loss.
So they gave up a little bit more than we thought that night, but you still like the under here at home to kind of get right.
Two really good teams. I think you'll see a little bit of a tighter game tonight. Not as much pond hockey with these two. Carolina off a loss. Brindamore will clamp it up a little bit. And I think that you'll get yourself a 3-2, 3-1. I think we'll get a little grindy type game tonight between them. I'll give you one other. I'm not going to play this one, but Ottawa and Philadelphia, for whatever reason, they play over. 6 of their last 7 meetings together have gone over, and I mean way over, Doug. So if you want to get involved with Ottawa and Philly tonight, the trend there for them isn't over. It's over 6 at even money at Bet Rivers right now. So that could be a fun one, too, if you want to have some more over action tonight.
Think of what Michael Corleone's asking about that. The Ducks game to go to OT.
Plus 340 to go to overtime between the Ducks and the Bruins. So the Bruins have lost 5 in a row. They won their first 3 games of the season. They've lost 5 in a row. Anaheim's on the East Coast trip. They just got a win in Nashville the other night. I kind of leaned to the Ducks this morning, honestly. I'm not a big playing a game to go to overtime in the regular season, Doug. I like those bets, Michael Corleone, in the playoffs. I love those bets in the playoffs. I don't like them as much in the regular season. I'm not a big go to overtime guy.
All right, so a couple of things how I think of these things. So a live bet, like I ask myself sometimes, is this better than a live bet? So you have one scenario where one of the teams is up by 1 goal. And then it's plus 340 that the losing team scores the next goal, and that's the scoring you get.
Right.
There's also the chance to offset that they're tied with 8 minutes to go, and we just don't see another goal. So if you think about those two outcomes, does plus 340 make sense? I don't think it does. I think I need like plus $5. But if the stats indicate that these games go to OT more than you think and all that, and you've talked about it, guys. Teams are pulling the goalies earlier than normal. I know, but you got to think about it in a live betting situation. So why don't I do this? Why don't I tweet at you tonight, Carver, during the Ducks game, if we have a tight game one way or another, and we'll compare it to what the pre-flop money line was or prop line was, plus 340 to go to OT. I'm curious of the market. This is not a market I know about in game. Because in the NBA, which obviously the scoring is more unique, so you're going to get higher payouts, but 11-1, 12-1. So football, you get that. It's funny that the Cowboys weekend there was a tie. Remember the Cowboys on Sunday night with the Packers? Pretty sharp guy I know, lives in another state. He goes, I think we see a tie this weekend. It was like randomly. I didn't ask him, and he bet it. He bet it and won heavy 5 figures. Let's call it. Because he thought we were going to see an actual tie and the game ended in a tie. So those odds you have to kind of factor in. But I'm curious what the live market's going to have with about 8 minutes to go and where the score will be in this game.
All right, so let's check that out tonight. And I did see one of our guys in the chat did throw that up. When you see a line that's as tight as Anaheim and Boston is, yes, that would be the kind of game where maybe you would look to that because it is a pretty, almost a coin flip type of game. Between those two. I asked the question, Amish Farmer, why are the Islanders favored tonight? Well, that is a great question. I'd like to know that as well. I'll give you a couple reasons, I guess, why, Doug, I think the Islanders are favored tonight. Because Rittich is playing, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me there. Detroit's on the second night of a back-to-back, so you have to factor that in. The Islanders have won 3 in a row. The Islanders are playing much better, and at home they've played pretty well. So even though every game's a track meet. I think 141 is probably a little too much for the Isles, but I could understand them if they were maybe a little bit of a shorter favorite tonight.
I mean, look, it's good to ask these questions and it's good to get an answer. I can't tell you, but they're not only favored, but they're favored pretty heavily, right?
Yes.
$1.41. This is not 120.
Right. I it would not have stunned me if the Islanders were 115 to 120 tonight. I think that's kind of where. So that makes you ask the questions. Well, maybe we're getting a little value on the Red Wings at plus $1.14. It's hard for me to play the teams on the second night of a back-to-back to win. But with the Islanders, Doug, I'll tell you this. Watch a lot of Islander hockey. Just about anything can happen in their games. Islanders could easily lose 7-2 tonight. They could easily lose 7-2. They could win 5-0. They'll all go over 6, as I mentioned to you before. We're going to go over in that game. But pretty much anything can happen with the Isles because Patrick Waugh is just playing this kind of wide open style right now. Sorokin hasn't been good. Rittich is in there tonight. But 141 makes you scratch your head for the Islanders. That is a little puzzling to me for that. So you got plenty of pucks tonight. Bunch of other games too. You got Montreal. And Montreal's back-to-back too, Doug. They're in Edmonton against the Oilers. That's a big number at 250 for Edmonton. So you got a bunch of hockey games tonight that you can sink your teeth into here. And Rangers. I wanted to leave without the Rangers, Doug. The Rangers finally win at home tonight? I can't lay all that lumber with the Rangers. No chance. 295.
You're not going to go under again?
You see, maybe that's the play again. We did it the other night with Minnesota. The problem is it's the Sharks. The Sharks are awful. And
the Rangers at home.
That's what scares me. Still the Rangers at home. It's still the Rangers at home. Under or nothing, Doug, for the Ranger game tonight. Under or nothing. Definitely not laying the puck line with them. They've scored 1 goal at home all year. 4 games, they've got 1 goal at home, the Rangers.
They're remarkable.
So not going to go into that area, that's for sure. All right, college football. We do have a game tonight, which we will get to. The great South Alabama and Georgia State game that we have this evening in the Fun Belt. That's as fun as it gets for the Fun Belt with South Alabama and Georgia State. But let's do a couple of big games on Saturday. Get our first look at a few of these, Doug. We'll start SEC with Ole Miss visiting Oklahoma. -5 for the Sooners and a flat 53.
This is really fascinating. This is like the classic live betting game because I'll know within 5 minutes which of these narratives is going to be more pronounced. Okay. When you play Georgia, especially with the Bulldogs, what they did, they ran the ball down the throat of Ole Miss. Ole Miss could not stop the run. They were worn down and empty in the gas tank by the second half. Georgia didn't punt. Okay. So even though Ole Miss was up 2 scores, Georgia kept running it down their throat and even not just one, but covered. So I wonder what Ole Miss has left in the tank. Now, we know the Ole Miss offense. I thought Chambliss impressed me. I thought they were really good. Oklahoma's got this vaunted defense, right? And I all year have been kind of riding the Sooners in that regard. However, they're the 6th rate in terms of efficiency. However, what offenses have they played? Okay. What's the best offense they've played? Michigan? Texas? So I'm not sold that the Sooners are sometimes it's good offense beats good defense, right? And so if you told me Ole Miss won 30-17, I wouldn't be shocked at all. So I can't bet it. I think Mateer's been shaky since come back from the injury. I think under's the only way I would play because I do think the Oklahoma front will do enough to slow down Ole Miss. I also think Kiffin's a genius. I wonder if Ole Miss is just gas tanks and on empty. 53 feels a little high, so that's the only way I would play this.
Like the under as well in it because of Oklahoma's defense. I could see Ole Miss going there and winning. I get the potential gas tank being empty situation after going to Georgia last week. That's 2 back-to-back tough road games in the SEC for Ole Miss. There's no question there. But 5, man, those 5s, Doug, don't you hate 5s?
They were laying 5 at South Carolina last week, and that thing wasn't even close. South Carolina was lucky to score. But that's South Carolina's terrible offensive line and shaky offense, even though I like Sellers a lot. OU made them look silly, but that line is pathetic. So if OU's defense gets a reckoning, I would not be surprised. But if OU continues to just flex on defense, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Really good game, 3:30 East kick, also SEC on Saturday, where Vandy, who's now ranked 10th in the country after beating LSU last week, has Missouri coming to town. -2.5 for the Commodores at home. This total also right in that range, 53 flat at Bet Rivers. This should be a fun game, Doug. Really fun game.
I mean, look, Vandy's top 10. They're also 5th or 6th in efficiency. They're a really impressive team. I think this is the right side. I think Mizzou's been on a little bit of a tough sort of slate. Don't sleep on what they've had to go through. They had that monumental game against Bama at home, right? It was off a bye, but then they had home, came down to the end, really like draining game. Then they go to Auburn, had the crazy whistle flags in their favor. I just think back-to-back road games, third straight game against a really tough opponent. Vandy, the number's short. I'm surprised it hasn't hit 3. I made it 3.5, 4. But Mizzou's got, I mean, they know what they're doing. But while LSU, I think, does not. But Vandy's got Missouri's defense, I question here. I think Vandy puts up points. I think they really run the ball well here, and they put up some points.
You think that I can get a 3 or 3.5 by Saturday, Doug? Can I get a 3 or 3.5?
If it hasn't moved this, I think sharp money's probably on the dog. Then I haven't heard one way or another. I'll find out more info today. But I mean, 3's a key number, not as much in college, obviously. I'm surprised this line hasn't moved one way or another.
This Missouri team and Drinkwitz, I feel like they do get slept on a little bit every year, and they've been good the past couple years. And like I watched him this week. I'm sure you saw the clip too, where he's like, they're asking about, college game day being there on Saturday morning. He's like, we don't care. We're on the road. We're going in to do a job. Like, I'm not the biggest Bo Prabula fan at the quarterback position, but I feel like Missouri's not getting the respect maybe that they deserve. And if I can get
they're
a 3 or
not
3.5,
getting like they're not going to be anyone's favorite. I mean, this is like the 5-12 game in March Madness, and everyone's rooting for Vandy. Everyone's rooting for Vandy, even though they're the higher seeded team or higher ranked team and favored. I like Missouri's approach. So that is the workman-like approach. It makes sense.
I might Darth Vader this. I'm going to Darth Vader the public here with Vandy on Saturday, but only if I can get a 3 or a 3.5. I can get over the 3, and not 2.5. 2.5, I probably wouldn't go there. UCLA, all of a sudden hot. UCLA on their way to Indiana to see Cignetti and the Hoosiers. 25.5 total 50. Look at this. Every game going to be 53.5 this week for us, Doug?
Probably. I'm torn on this game. Not torn, but like I just think this number's spot on. I think the side and the total are right there. If anything, it's UCLA and over because their team total is about 13. So I just think the Bruins will be able to score a little bit. Jerry Neuheisel's been doing a really nice job with the rushing attack, although IU's solid against the run. But I think you can score against Indiana. I don't know what happened against that Illinois game, but I think UCLA can go in there and get some garbage points one way or another. I've been really impressed with the Bruins, but there is a chance that there's a rude awakening here for UCLA. Beginning of the year, no joke. My favorite win total. I was on I was on these podcasts saying it. I said under 5.5 wins for UCLA, and I was looking like a genius. But now they've won 3 straight. And I said, "Easy, fellas. Like, come on now. Like, let's be gentle." So I don't want any funny business here, Bruins. IU win the game.
Well, I think that this is the week where the magic carpet ride comes to an end. I got a feeling. Like, look, impressive what they've done. Neuheisel, everybody loves them now. They're not playing Maryland, Michigan State, or what we now know is not a very good Penn State team this week. Cignetti loves these spots, Doug. This is a good smash spot for Cignetti. Oh, look, everybody's talking about UCLA. We're ranked number 2 in the country. Here we go. 52-10. Bang. Indiana at home, probably on Saturday.
Okay. So, you don't think UCLA can get over their team total of 13.5?
You know what? We could get over it if you would like. 57-14. We could go there. How about 50?
Okay.
we could get UCLA over their team total, Doug. Absolutely. So you're right. You're right about Indiana.
He's going to put up a 50 burger.
I'm saying Cignetti is the type of guy that he hears, UCLA, they're on a little heater right now. We're number 2 in the country. Nobody's really talking about us again this week. Everyone's talking about Vandy. Here comes Cignetti to just put a pounding on somebody. He's the kind of guy who likes to do that, Cignetti. But you're right about Indiana's D. They're not very good either. So I am with you. We could get that team total for UCLA absolutely over in that spot. It's time for Cignetti to give back UCLA to cover. I don't know. I wouldn't be taking this.
Didn't cover last week. I mean, he's been in some trouble.
That's
I mean,
true.
not trouble, but like he hasn't been steamrolling everyone. He's got
Fox is in town. Aren't they doing their pregame there? He's got everyone there in Bloomington. It's a good showcase spot for Cignetti. Baylor at Cincinnati here. This is a monstrous total that you've got in the Baylor-Cincinnati game. Of course, Big 12 coming up on Saturday. 67, Doug, for these two? Up, and away, man. When they make it that high, Doug, they can't make it high enough.
And I know some sharp money that came on the over. I mean, it does feel high, but are you willing to take under? I'm not. So, TCU, Baylor played TCU last week. That game went back and forth, went over the total. Typically, if a game has a spread this short and then the total's that high, it goes over because, Baylor's not going to be up 20 or Cincy's not going to be up 20. Like both teams are going to be encouraged to score because it's a seesaw game, a back and forth game, and no lead is going to be too safe unless they're up 30. But now, like for example, the UCLA Indiana game, right? That's got a huge side and total. So that's in theory, an under could occur because IU could just take the foot off the gas if the Bruins are inept. In this type of game, typically they're going to both be incentivized to keep scoring and not take their foot off the gas. And that's why the over makes sense to me.
I mean, these games the last couple of weeks, 42-36, 35-34, 45-27, these Baylor games, they get going. So it's up or nothing else when you're looking at that. All right, we have a game tonight. I mentioned it to you before.
Is that what we're going to call
it? We've got a little fun belt for you with South Alabama making the trip to Georgia State. Both teams checking in with 1-6 records coming into this evening. -6.5 for the Jaguars on the road. 54.5 is the total.
Okay, so both teams are 1-6 and winless at 0-3 in conference play. This is not a good game. But I will say South Alabama has been playing better of late. The quarterback's been playing better. I mean, remember, this is the school that produced Bill Belichick's quarterback, right? They got in the transfer portal. And Georgia State just played on Saturday. So this is a short week. I mean, the NFL plays on Sunday and then Thursday, and you talk about their bodies, and they always complain. Now, they're much more in car accidents on every play because the defense is bigger and everything. But I don't think we can overlook the fact that Georgia State just played on Saturday. And yes, they're at home, but they have to play an actual game just a handful of days later. Now, South Alabama has more rest. I understand it. They're playing better. But I can't lay 6.5 points on the road with a 1-6 team. So I understand that they're 6.5 for a reason. So I'm going to pass. But those are the storylines at least swirling in my head in terms of why I was trying to find the right play here.
I think the only thing that I would like in this game is the over, just because both defenses are not very good. I could see South Alabama's gotten the run game going too the last couple of weeks. Like I could just see them running all over Georgia State in this game. And 53.5, you could probably get there. But I got plenty of other things, Doug, that I can go after tonight. I'm not sure that South Alabama and Georgia State's going to be right there for me this evening. Not sure.
Well, as my buddy says, and he says this when you complain, he's like, you can't expect bad teams to do good things. So when they lay an egg or drop a touchdown, no complaining.
But two bad teams sometimes is a nice recipe for a wild and crazy game. So maybe we can get that and hang our hat on that tonight with a couple of 1-6 teams. Betting Weekly Live here on a Thursday. Mike Carver and Doug Kezirian here with you. Of course, if you like what you're watching, make sure you check out everything else on the Betting Weekly Studios network, Bet Rivers Network. Released this morning, Betting Weekly EPL. Dan Roebuck, Nigel Seeley, and Jack Wright, they preview match day 9 in the Premier League. Top of the table Arsenal taking a tough trip to Crystal Palace this week. So lots of EPL action. You can check that out right now on the Betting Weekly Studios channel. Lots of Premier League action coming up. I know the guys had the Europa going this morning also, and they did a good job with that. So make sure you get involved. All right, Doug, it's that time again. Best bet time on Betting Weekly Live before we get out of here. I'm going to give you a football and a hockey. I feel like, Doug, I do too, because I have to put a hockey in there when I'm going out the door. So I want to make sure that I have one hockey game also. I really like the Jefferson over 82.5 tonight for the Vikings. I think that that's kind of where I want to hang my hat in that football game, is on the props, because I really don't love a side, and the total could be tough. And for the hockey, Islanders and the Red Wings over the 6, with hopefully a wild and crazy game at UBS.
I can get behind that. I can get behind the Jefferson play, and obviously I like your total here. I'm going to go one play, Pacers first quarter. Now, they have a team total of 27.5 at Bet Rivers. So part of me would just say, well, why don't I just bet the team total, things like that? I don't know. That would make sense. 27.5 feels doable. I don't think the Thunder are going to be locking down on defense. So why don't I do that? Why don't I do the first quarter over 27.5 points for the Pacers? I think they jump on them like gangbusters. I do like the money line as well at plus 143. Again, I think you just lean into variance and go that way. And so I think that's the way to play it. So I'll do that. Over 27.5 points, first quarter team total for the Indiana Pacers in their season debut and home debut.
There you go. A little up and away tonight at the Field House. Tomorrow, Doug, we'll be back. Betting Weekly Live on a Friday. Massive Friday. I know we got, again, double-digit NBA games tomorrow night, including, and I think I bypassed this earlier, and I want to make sure I do get it in, T-Wolves and Lakers tomorrow night, Doug, in the NBA. I know you've already got your eye on that. T-Wolves and Lakers tomorrow night.
I would like to add to the card right now the T-Wolves minus 2.5 at the Lakers. I'm surprised this line's come up. I don't expect Luka to play. I know JJ Redick said he was fine and blah, blah, blah. I would hammer the T-Wolves right now at 2.5. This Lakers team's a mess. Dominating, he was not. So I think there's just a lot of ways to play it. But I love the tweet I read last night, and it was somebody just goes, there's so much basketball on right now. It was like 11 games on at once, and I was just so overwhelmed. There's new players, it was just a lot to take in.
Yeah, and then we throw the college in too in a couple weeks. Don't forget, college basketball is right around the corner. And the Clippers owe us one tomorrow night, Doug. Clippers owe us one.
I think I failed to cover like both of my plays by like a combined 30
the Clippers,
points.
I couldn't believe with it. And I almost went in for more and double dipped when they got down big early. I said, let me go in for a little bit more.
I actually played the Jazz second half, but I also played the over. And it went under by 2 points. I just juiced out, but I almost it got close though, because the Jazz sort of stumbled down the stretch, but it was right there.
Lots of NBA tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live. We'll have some hockey. We do have college football games tomorrow night too. I know Cal and Vodtech, I believe, is playing tomorrow night. So we do have a few games with that. We'll go through all the NFL for Sunday as well. So a big Betting Weekly Live Friday edition. Doug, I will see you then. Great job by you. Great job by everybody. Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian, Betting Weekly Live, Betting Weekly Studios, Bet Rivers Network. We'll see you back here tomorrow.